Would you forgive someone who built your love story on a lie? It started like a rom-com, rain pouring, a stranger with an umbrella, instant chemistry. But looking back, I should have asked why he was there in the first place. My entire relationship basically started because my boyfriend catfished me in real life. No, for real. And I didn't find out until I was already in way too deep. Let me explain how a guy with a nice umbrella and a devastatingly calm vibe turned out to be the biggest liar I've ever dated. Okay, so full disclosure, my life is basically a constant state of being late. Like, it's my brand. Late to my 9 a.m., late to my own therapy appointments, which, I probably need because of the stress of being late all the time. It's a whole thing. This one Tuesday was peak Lila. I'd stayed up way too late, doom scrolling through a rabbit hole of videos of people restoring rusty old forks, and my alarm was basically a suggestion I'd aggressively swiped away. So of course, I was sprinting to catch the 5:15 bus, looking like a complete goblin, my hair doing that weird half up, half down thing because I gave up halfway through brushing it. And then, as if the universe was personally invested in my downfall, the sky just opened. And I'm not talking about a cute romantic drizzle. This was a full-on biblical level downpour, like Noah would have been side-eyeing the whole situation. I was stranded on this stupid street corner, no umbrella, because planning ahead is for people with their lives together, and my clothes were instantly plastered to me. My cute, cheap, fast fashion jacket turned into a cold, heavy sack. My hair was a wet mop. I could feel my mascara starting to migrate south, probably giving me 2 black eyes. It was a full-blown 10-10 bad day. I was just standing there, getting absolutely hosed, mentally composing my resignation letter in my head because showing up to work looking like a drowned rat felt like a fireable offense. And then, out of nowhere, it just stopped. The rain on my head, I mean. The world was still a wet, blurry mess, but my personal little storm cloud had vanished. I flinched and looked up. There was an umbrella, a huge, actually decent one, not the flimsy kind I would own, and holding it was a guy, a complete stranger. My brain, which was already waterlogged, short-circuited. My first thought wasn't, thank you, it was, is this a TikTok prank? Where's the hidden camera? I literally did a quick, subtle look around for a guy with a phone laughing. He didn't look like a prankster, though. He was just a guy, cute in a low-key way, no flashy clothes, just a dark hoodie and jeans. He had this really calm vibe, which was the total opposite of my internal screaming panic. Looks like you could use some cover, he said, and his voice was nice, normal, not creepy. I just blinked, water dripping from my eyelashes. Yeah. No, for real, thank you, I managed to stammer out. I was about to, fully dissolve into a puddle. He gave a little half smile. Which way are you headed? I pointed down the street toward the bus stop that felt 1,000,000 miles away. That way. Me too. So, we started walking. And it was so awkward. At first, the only sound was the drumming of rain on the nylon above us and the splash of our feet in the growing puddles. I was hyper aware of everything. The fact that I was probably dripping on his shoes. The fact that my wet clothes were making a squelching noise with every step. I was mentally running through every possible conversation starter and rejecting them all. So, you come here often? To a rainstorm? No. Crazy weather, huh? Obvious. Ugh. I had my arms crossed tight over my chest, trying to conserve what little body heat I had left, and I was holding my breath, trying to make myself smaller. But the umbrella was big, and he was standing close enough that I could feel the warmth coming off him. It was weirdly solid. And then, the first little thing happened. We had to sidestep a massive puddle that took up the whole curb. I went left, he went right, and our hands just brushed. It wasn't a grab, it wasn't intentional, it was just this fleeting, accidental touch. His skin was warm against my ice-cold fingers. It lasted half a second, but my whole brain went, error, error. I jerked my hand back like I'd been shocked, muttering a sorry, even though it wasn't anyone's fault. He just said, no, it's fine, and his voice was still so calm. We kept walking, and I started to notice other stuff. He was holding the umbrella perfectly in the middle, even though he was taller, so I was fully covered. My goblin self would have probably been hogging it without even realizing. And his steps. I'm a fast walker, even when I'm not late. It's just the default setting from a lifetime of rushing. But I realized I wasn't having to do my little power walk hustle to keep up. He was just matching my pace, not in an obvious I'm slowing down for you way, but in this seamless, easy rhythm. The silence started to change. It wasn't the awkward kind anymore. It was just quiet, peaceful even. The world was this blurry, wet, chaotic mess of honking cars and people running for cover, but under this little nylon dome, it was weirdly calm. I could hear him breathing softly beside me. I could smell the rain on his hoodie, this clean, damp cotton smell mixed with the petrichor from the pavement. I finally stole a proper glance at him. He had nice hands holding the umbrella. I don't know why I noticed that, and a little scar above his eyebrow. I found myself wondering how he got it. Basketball? A childhood accident? The kind of mundane thoughts you have about someone you actually know, not a random stranger you've shared 50 feet of sidewalk with. I felt my shoulders start to relax. The frantic, "I'm late, my life is a disaster" monologue in my head finally quieted down. For the first time all day, I was just present, not thinking about the work email I'd forgotten to send, or the fact that I had nothing to eat for dinner, or the weird notification on my phone I'd been ignoring. I was just a girl, walking in the rain, under an umbrella with a quiet, kind stranger. Hit me then, in a way that felt super profound for a Tuesday evening. I was always in such a rush to get to the next thing that I never actually was in the current thing. I was never just walking, I was commuting, I was never just eating, I was refueling. But this forced slowdown, this was kind of nice. We reached the bus stop just as my bus was pulling up, its lights glaring through the sheets of rain. Of course, the one time I wouldn't have minded waiting. He lowered the umbrella as we stepped under the shelter, which was crowded with other damp, grumpy people. "Well," I said, feeling a weird pang of something, loss, disappointment, as the moment was about to end. "This is me, thanks. You literally saved me from, like, hypothermia or something." He smiled again, a real one this time that reached his eyes. "No problem. Stay dry." And then he did this little nod and just turned and walked away, his umbrella disappearing back into the gray curtain of rain. I stood there for a second, dripping onto the concrete, watching the space where he'd been. The bus doors hissed open. The moment was over. I climbed on, swiped my pass, and found a seat, my wet skirt making a gross suction noise on the plastic. But as the bus pulled away, I wasn't thinking about being late, or my ruined hair, or my soggy state. I was just thinking about the warmth of his hand, the sound of the rain on the umbrella, and the quiet guy who didn't have to be kind but was. And for the first time, and maybe forever, I didn't feel like I was in a rush at all. I, Lila, a professional disaster, had just been saved from morphing into a human puddle by a quiet, mysteriously calm guy with a good umbrella. We'd had, like, a moment, a real, silent, weirdly intense moment, and then he just walked away. For the next, 48 hours, my brain was basically a broken record. I replayed that 5-minute walk more times than I rewatched my favorite comfort episodes of The Office. The hand brush, the slowed steps, the little scar. It was all living in my head rent-free. My group chat was sick of me. Me. But what did it mean? Chloe. It meant he had an umbrella and you didn't. Go to therapy. Me. No, but the vibes were immaculate. Sam, you're down catastrophically bad for a man whose name you don't even know. They weren't wrong, but the thing was, the city is huge. The chances of seeing him again were basically zero. It was a cute, one-off cosmic blip, a core memory for my cringe compilation. I had to move on. Cut to Friday. I was actually on time for work for once, feeling weirdly productive, and I decided to treat myself to an overpriced iced coffee from this place near my office that I never go to because it's, well, overpriced. I was scrolling through my phone, waiting for my order, mentally already tasting that sweet, sweet caffeine when I looked up, and there he was. No way! He was at the counter, paying for his own drink. Same guy, same calm vibe, different clothes, but same energy. My heart did this thing that felt like a cross between a seizure and a drum solo. My palms got instantly sweaty. This was it. This was the meet-cute moment. The universe was throwing me a bone. I had to say something. I had to be cool, funny, relatable. My brain, however, short-circuited again. All that came out was a strangled, "Hey, umbrella, I wanted to die. I wanted the floor to swallow me whole." Umbrella? That's my opening line. Not high, not small world, but umbrella. Like I was a caveman discovering object permanence. He turned, and for a second, he looked confused. Then his eyes focused on me, and that same half smile appeared. Oh, hey, the drowned girl. The drowned girl. He had a nickname for me. My soul left my body. Yep, I squeaked. Still, not drowned. Thanks to you. We stood there for a second in that awkward post-recognition pause. I'm Lila, by the way. I finally managed. Alex? He said. Alex. His name was Alex. It was a good, solid name, not something weird like Bartholomew. Alex. My drink's on me, he said, nodding to the barista. For the umbrella tax. Reader, I almost fainted. He was paying for my coffee. This was not my life. This was the plot of a movie I would make fun of for being unrealistic. That's how it started. We didn't just go our separate ways that time. We took our drinks and sat at this little wobbly table by the window, and we talked for an hour. I was late for work, again, but for the first time, I did not care. We talked about everything and nothing. His dry, understated humor was the perfect counterbalance to my chaotic word vomiting. He was an architect, which explained the good hands. I told him I was in digital marketing, which is a fancy way of saying I make cringe TikToks for a yogurt brand. He didn't run for the hills. We exchanged numbers, not in a weird, pressured way. It was just natural. What followed was a whirlwind, but like a chill whirlwind, a low-pressure system of good vibes. We texted all the time. We went on actual proper dates, not just, hey, wanna hang, but I got reservations at that place you mentioned. He remembered things. Like, I once offhandedly said, I love those weird sour mango gummies, and the next time I saw him, he had a bag of them. Who does that? It was all so easy. Being with Alex was like finally finding a quiet room in the middle of the loud, frantic party that was my life. He slowed me down. I stopped rushing. I started noticing things. The way the light hit the buildings he pointed out, the taste of food when I actually took the time to chew it, the sound of his laugh, which was this quiet, genuine thing. A month in, I was a convert. I was telling my friends, I get it now. I get why people like dating. I was that girl. I started thinking in wheeze. We should go there someday. He'd love this movie. It was terrifying and amazing. Then came last night. It was supposed to be perfect. It was the 1-month anniversary of the umbrella incident. Yes, I was keeping track, don't judge me, and we were going to this nice but not too fancy Italian place. I wore the cute dress. I did my hair properly. I was on time. He was already there, waiting at the table. He looked serious. Not bad serious, just thoughtful. My stomach did a little flip, but I chalked it up to romance nerves. Dinner was great. The food was amazing. The conversation flowed, but there was this tension. I could feel it. I thought he was going to say the L word. I was mentally preparing my response. It was, I think I love you too, in case you were wondering. As we were finishing our wine, he reached across the table and took my hand. Here it comes, I thought. My heart was hammering. Lila, he said, his voice soft. These past few weeks have been incredible. They really have, I said, smiling so hard my face hurt. I feel like I can really talk to you, and there's something I need to tell you, something I should have been upfront about from the beginning. Oh God, was he married? Was he a secret agent? My mind raced. Okay, I said, my voice a little shaky. He took a deep breath. The day we met, in the rain, that wasn't an accident. I blinked. What do you mean? I mean, I was supposed to meet you. I was so confused. Like a blind date? Did Chloe set this up? That traitor. He gave a weak smile. No, not exactly. He paused, gathering himself. My name is Alex, but my last name is Ferris. The name hit me like a physical blow. Ferris and Sons. The architecture firm my company had just hired to design our new office building. The project I'd been complaining about for weeks because the lead architect was this perfectionist nightmare who kept rejecting all our marketing proposals. My mouth fell open. You're that Alex Ferris. He nodded, looking genuinely pained. My firm was hired by your company. I've seen your employee directory photo. I knew who you were that day in the rain. I'd been curious about you. Your name kept coming up on the marketing memos. You were always so passionate in your emails. And then I saw you standing there getting soaked, and I saw my chance. I pulled my hand back. The entire world tilted. The romantic movie music in my head screeched to a halt. So, what? You orchestrated that? The whole night with a shining umbrella thing? It wasn't like that, he said, his voice urgent. It started that way, yeah. But everything after that was real, Lila, I swear. The coffee shop was a complete coincidence. I was as shocked as you were, and after we talked, I knew I couldn't tell you. I knew it would look like this. But my feelings for you are 100% real. The rain, it just gave me a way in. What we built after is real. I just stared at him. The warmth of his hand, the slowed steps, the mango gummies. It was all cast in this horrifying, manipulative new light. The beginning of something I thought I'd been missing my whole life was a lie. A calculated, professional grade lie. I have to go, I whispered, standing up so fast my chair screeched. Lila, please. But I was already walking away, the sounds of the restaurant muffled by the blood roaring in my ears. I walked out into the cool night air. It wasn't raining this time. There was no umbrella to share. There was just me and the crushing weight of a truth that washed away everything I thought I knew, not with the gentle grace of rain, but with the brutal force of a flash flood. He texted me 12 times. I didn't reply. The universe hadn't given me a love story. It had given me a cautionary tale, and the punchline was that I'd finally stopped rushing, only to run headfirst into a lie. After weeks of nonstop texts and calls and flowers at my doorstep, we decided to give it a chance, but this time no lies and no secrets. And to be honest, it's going pretty well. So moral of the story, people, find love in weird and bizarre places if you're willing to give it a chance. Goodbye and the end.